Then watch me do it again. Tell them I can't take no loss. My team hold no L's, no. Aiming for the top, can't make it by myself. I ain't taking no loss. I ain't taking no loss. Look, I'ma always win.
I ain't taking no loss. Oh my goodness.
We already know that we the coldest. Watch me hit it.
Yeah, yes. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is a nice Monday night, and we got a little baseball to talk as Yankees owner Hal Steinbrenner decided to come out. He was found, ladies and gentlemen. We have found Hal. Hal has been found. He's okay. All right, all that work I put in trying to find this guy was really useless and pointless because he has been found. It's just that simple. He is now found. We've heard from him, and we're here to discuss it today. That is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk about, we're going to listen to Hal Steinbrenner first, and then I'll give my reaction to each part of it. Obviously, this started earlier today, so a lot of you already know what he said and all that, but I didn't want to react in the moment. I kind of wanted to take today as a day where I could just break this stuff down myself, and then I'll just come back later tonight and do a reaction video. So I wanted to do this one a little differently than I've done it before, and I'll be honest with you guys. It's going to be, I can never predict how I react to certain things. So there's many times where I sit here and I'll say, like I'm going to say right now, is I'm going to watch this and I don't think I'm going to scream. I don't think I'm going to yell. I don't think I'm going to slam things. I don't think I'm going to get overly aggravated. And the reason I don't see myself getting like that is because even when I read a lot of the comments, it's more of the same. It's more of the same of what we already know. And yeah, man, let's get right into it. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Ronnie, what's up, my brother? Kyle Malay, what's up, brother? Anthony Medina, the one, the only. What's up, fam? Bless the fish. What's up, brother? Tina, how we doing over here? Kicking with Roy, what up? Reality, what's up? Siciliano NYY, what's up, brother? How we feeling, folks? Everybody all right? Good. Fasten your seatbelts. Let's take a listen to Hal Steinbrenner, folks. Comes out of it, comes out every once in a while, pops his head out, goes away, and comes back. Let's take a listen. Here we go. Let's get started. Why not?
Hal, I know your focus has surely already shifted to 2026, but when you reflect on 2025, what most encouraged you about this team? What most disappointed you about this team?
Well, what most encouraged me about the team is how well they played together, how incredible they had each other's backs, how incredible the clubhouse was.
There it is.
They like many teams we've had in the past, never thought they were out of it, never thought they were going to lose a game. And when they had a tough loss the next day, it's almost like it didn't happen. They just bounced right back. What was disappointing, obviously, was the result. I didn't like that 6-7 week period that we had where we were making mistakes, not playing good baseball, not hitting. That can't happen every year, in my opinion. And certainly what happened in the postseason was disappointing. We went in healthy. We went in my opinion, playing good ball, and got through that first tough series. And I really thought we were going to go on a roll, and we just quit hitting. And, our pitching faltered as well. I think somebody told me we gave up 34 runs in 34 innings. You're not going to beat the Blue Jays, as good a team as they are, doing that.
Somebody told me.
So it was disappointing.
I'm sorry. I'm just catching myself for a second. I'm trying my best here, guys. Corinne says I'm just expecting a deep sigh. Probably, yeah. That's what I'd hope. But I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best, really, not to laugh and not to say what are we doing here, because, like I said before, man, I don't want to scream. And I'll be honest with you, I really want to like Hal Steinbrenner. I've said this 100 times. I want to like the guy. I wish I could give him pointers, and that's going to sound crazy. So what do you mean give him pointers? I just feel like the Yankees don't understand their fan base. I mean, they probably don't care, and nor should they necessarily regarding making decisions. But I'm not talking about making decisions. I'm talking about just, what Yankee fans want to hear and what we would buy. You don't really buy. I mean, I really don't want to hear the owner of the Yankees I don't want to hear the owner of the Yankees come out and say, somebody told me we got outscored by the Blue Jays. Everything else he said was fine. I get it. He didn't say nothing wrong. But for him to say, somebody told me we got outscored by the Blue Jays. And well, I was told that we got outscored by the Blue Jays. And it's not fair. It's not right. You can't win baseball games when you get outscored by the Blue Jays. Costanza! Bring me a calzone! I'm like, I'll be honest with you, man. I just can't buy that. Like, and again, anybody could hear this and go, Pete, you're nitpicking. I'm sorry, but I have a tough time when the owner sits there. The owner of the club is sitting there saying, somebody told me, we got outscored by the Blue Jays. It's unbelievable. John Scardino says, never meant to run the New York Yankees, and it shows. It really does. I think one of the saddest things is about all of this and all of the a lot of leadership for the Yankees is that they almost seem like they don't want to answer for anything. Like they really don't want to talk. They don't want to be in front. They don't feel they have to tell you a thing. And that just, to me, that's the way it comes across, with the Yanks. But again, let's continue on. Let's keep listening. I appreciate him saying this can't happen every year with the, 6-7 week stretch that the Yankees do have every single year. It's a common thing for the Yankees under Aaron Boone specifically. We'll talk about that a little more here momentarily, but let's keep on with the comments here.
Okay. Even with a $300 million payroll, you said the final figure was 319. You were still outspent by the Dodgers and the Mets. Is your view of whether a salary cap should be proposed changed over time? And would you still favor a cap proposal if it was proposed?
Look, I don't feel like I'm in a position right now, research-wise, knowledge-wise, to answer that question. We'll always be among the highest, payroll-wise. We always have been, always will be. Look, there are groups of fans out there in different areas, including my hometown here in Tampa, that come to, and I've addressed this before, come to spring training games thinking their team has little chance of making the playoffs, or at least little chance of making it deep into the playoffs. And those fans would argue that that's not good for baseball as a whole. And, it's a valid argument. Whether it's true or not, it's a valid argument. So, but yeah, that's about all I got for you on that.
Okay.
True. He's not wrong. Don't get me wrong. There are fan bases and other owners that do not spend. And he has a right to be upset about this. I've said this for a long time. Hal Steinbrenner, he has a right to be upset about it. And look, I know there's a lot of times where he's an easy guy to pick on. He's the owner of the Yankees. He has a lot of money. His father's a legend. It's hard to live up to that character and that it's hard living in that shadow. Of course, I get it. I understand that. He's not wrong here. There are major league organizations that start a season and they got no damn chance to win. And they're not spending money. They're not doing much. I understand that. Now, again, does that mean that the Yankees operate that way? No, of course. They're always going to have one of the highest payrolls. And the thing about it is, the reason Yankee fans it's fair, by the way, for Yankee fans to be more upset than anybody else. I can explain this very simply for everyone. Yankee fans also typically pay the most. Yankee fans travel the most to see their club play on the road. Yankee fans, we do that. We want to support this team. We're more than willing to sit there and say, we'll come out of our pocket, take our family. It's quite the cost. It's quite the hit. But we want the Yankee experience. We want to see a great team on the field. And that's why we will continue to go to the lengths to continue to pay money and pay money and pay money and not bitch about it. The only thing we're going to complain about is if we don't have the best squad on the field that we believe we can, because again, I'm going to keep drilling this point home for a long time. We are currently living through a time where the Yankees are putting a cheat code in the lineup every single day, and the Yankees have yet to build around them. I did this, and we're going to get a little further. I'm waiting for one quote that I really want to drill into. It's probably the quote that got me the most angry that I like to talk about. The Yankees have fumbled Aaron Judge being on their club, and there is no excuse for that. There just isn't. There's many, many times out there where you can say, we don't have to spend as much as we do, and that's fair game, but you got to win with Aaron Judge, because if you don't win with Aaron Judge, again, I'm going to say it now, I'll say it again, it's going to go down as probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest stain in Yankees history. And I know people are going to sit there and go, but the 80s, Pete, this and that. Hold on a second. Listen to what I'm saying again. You're talking about a team that is, again, putting a cheat code in their lineup every single day in the form of Aaron Judge. You have one of the greatest players the game of baseball has ever seen. Probably retires as top 5, top 6, top 7, top 8, guaranteed. Top 10 greatest Yankee of all time. And you guys have never put a leadoff hitter in front of him. You've never put a good number 2 in front of him. You've never had a consistently good number 4 if he's batting third behind him. That's a major problem. And for anybody to sit there and go, but Pete, in this year they had this guy consistently. They have never built a strong, real lineup consistently to go to war with year after year with Aaron Judge. That's just fact. We'll get to that a little more. Let's keep it going. This might be the comment here.
Talk to players and coaches around this team and about things that you need to do better. What are some of the things that they say to you, and do you agree with it? Ways this team can improve for 26.
Yeah, look, mental mistakes, base running for sure, which is why we made a change there, has been a thorn in our side most of the season last year or this year. So yes, whatever concerns that they have, it's not just them. Obviously, Cash is involved too, intimately involved. We're going to make a change and we're going to do better at it. But if you're asking specific about this year, the base running mistakes was not good. Not good. So we've made a change there, coaching wise, and we're going to expect better results this year, coming year.
All right, interesting enough, because that is obviously a valid point, right? We all know that it is definitely a valid point that the Yankees base running is bad. Here's my problem, and then I'm going to go into something else here that I kind of want to just dig my point home, if you guys don't mind. And we'll kind of talk about it from here. We got a super chat. David, give me 1 second, brother. I want to pull this page up so I can show this to you all as I also go over it. And I think it's eye-opening. I think this is very eye-opening, and it drills this point home. David says, just your opinion. I think this could be true. Do you think holding a ceiling cap would bring prices down on players if the high market teams might not be there? Yeah, it'll make a difference, but I think there got to be a floor. I like a floor more than a cap, but who the hell am I? But I like a floor more than the cap. But I want to stick to this for a second, right? Because Hal Steinbrenner addressed that. He said that players and coaches alike came out and said basically this team makes too many mental mistakes and that has to stop. Hal's answer to that is we made a coaching change, a first base coach, so this should now fix everything. Fiorito's coming in. This is going to fix everything. All right? So it's on Dan Fiorito to make sure he figures this out. It's on him. Because we made that change and we expect it's going to be different going into 2026. Here's my problem with what Hal says. He blames the players year after year, year after year, year after year. Fine, fair game. They're the ones playing on the field, right? And you're going to get to this here momentarily in 1 minute. My problem is you blame the players every year. I'm going to give you guys proof of what I'm about to say, okay? You can't keep blaming the players with a straight face every year when they haven't been consistent, and the one consistent is Aaron Boone. He's the one consistent. Aaron Boone has been the consistent since 2018. But for whatever reason, it's always everybody else. It's not him. It's not the manager on the field that could easily sit there and say, that play, not accepted, sit your ass down. You don't play on this club if plays like that continue to happen. Mind you, we can point to 5, 6, 7, 8 moments this year where I'm here watching a game screaming my lungs out, going, take him out. Take him out. And then Boone sits there and goes, we talked about it. Everything's all right. And then Hal just wants to say, well, it's on the players. So the players are the reason they continue to make mistakes. And I get it. There's a group of fans out there that feel the Yankees do no wrong. And of course it's the players. Pete, they're the ones playing. Are you crazy? They're the ones making the mistake. Fair game. But what does a manager do? Managers address that. Where's the addressing it? On top of that, you know what you need? Maybe a manager with a little bit of courage. You know, the manager we currently have who has been the manager of the Yankees since 2018 came out and said, I wish I had more courage. You mean that guy you can't blame? You can't blame that guy for your team constantly making errors after error after error after error. And again, folks, I'd be the first person here sitting there saying, Boone holds these dudes accountable. So if anybody's going to blame Boone, you're wrong. Boone doesn't hold them accountable. Guys, you remember the pop-up from Jazz? And we're all sitting there going, nah, man, you got to take him out of this game. You remember the play by Wells at second base? You got to take him out of this game, man. You got to get him out of the game. You kidding me? And Boone defends him. He defends it. And then the player sits there and goes, I'd do it again. And it's like you're watching a circus. Because you're sitting there going, bro, I have watched baseball my whole life. Am I the fucking one that's nuts? Am I the crazy? Is it me? Is it us? Or is it the fans' fault? But then I do a little research. And I sit there and say, let's take a look for a second. Let's dig into something here on what has possibly went wrong a bit with the New York Yankees. Really, I would say, especially since Aaron Judge has came up in 2017. All right, first and foremost, let me scroll down a little bit on this. I'm going to show you guys. I did this the other day. I'm going to do this again. This is for Hal Steinbrenner. Hal, I hope you're watching, Hal. I hope you're watching. From 96 to 2010, all right? Yeah, years ago. What do you guys notice about the screen that I'm showing you here? These are opening day lineups. So every now and then, there may have been a guy on the IL that's a different player that's playing. So you'll know those guys if you look. It's pretty obvious. If there's been a guy that has a long time playing, and maybe there's one guy in the middle or whatever. And, you know, it's pretty obvious if it was. This is opening day lineups every year, right? Look at the consistency. Take a look at the consistency there. What do you see, guys? You see 2 catchers in that entire time span. You see majority 3 first basemen in that long ass time there. You see about the majority 3 second basemen in that majority of time there. Third base, you see majority 2 guys, right? Shortstop, you really see 1, Derek Jeter. Left field, you see a couple of changes. Yankees have always had issues in left field. Then Hideki Matsui handled it, and Johnny Damon, and then Brett Gardner took it over for a while, right? Center field, Bernie Williams, Johnny Damon is the name you predominantly see. Right field, O'Neill, Sheffield, okay? All right, cute. We're going to go up a little bit more here. I don't want to go too far. We're going to scroll up to 2016. 2016, right there above your screen, we still see consistency. Mark Teixeira, Brian McCann there for a few years. Robbie Cano was still holding it down, right? Jeet was still there, of course. Then Didi took over. Gardy was the main guy. Jacoby Ellsbury for a minute. Carlos Beltran then took over with Nick Swisher. Curtis Granderson. Okay? Now, the start of Aaron Judge and Aaron Boone, 2017 was Girardi's last year, the first year of Aaron Judge. Then Aaron Boone takes over. We're going to go all the way. I'm going to cut it off right at the bottom of your screen there, 2017. And look at this. This is what I was saying. Look at this. Aaron Judge is your real main consistent. The Yankees have changed players in a short period of time under the greatest hitter we've just about ever seen. You've had Gary, you've had Trevino, Wells, Higgy, you had Rizzo, Goldie, Bruce, Voit, Bird, Austin, Jazz, Glaber, LeMahieu, Wade, Glaber, Walker, Castro, Cabrera, Donaldson, Urshela, Andujar, Drury, Headley, Torreyes, Gregorius, Tulowitzki, Torres, IKF, Volpe, Dominguez, Verdugo, Cabrera, Gallo, Frazier, Gardner. So they can sit there and talk about players after players after players. They change them a lot. The one consistent that's constantly been there is Aaron Boone. And for whatever reason, he's the greatest manager of all, and you are not allowed to say anything bad about him. He is the best manager in the game. That's all there is to it. Don't try to debate it. Don't you dare try to fight it. We know more than you do. They're the best organization in the world. Don't you dare blame this on Aaron Boone. Let's keep it going.
Hey, Hal. At the start of the year, you were quoted as saying it's difficult for most owners to do what the Dodgers are doing, spending. And you wondered if it would pay off for them. I'm curious, does the fact that they've now won back-to-back titles change your thinking at all on how you approach this offseason or future off seasons when it comes to spending like them?
Yeah, look, if there's a correlation between spending the most money and winning a championship, I still think it's a weak correlation. Sample size of data, not very big, but they earned every bit of it. I mean, they struggled with injuries throughout the season, which I did talk about in that same quote. But they got healthy at the right time. The rotation got healthy, and when that rotation's healthy, they're tough to beat. And they, quite frankly, played up to their potential. I mean, they really played up to their potential, especially those last two games. And that has to happen. Your players have to play up to their potential when you're playing a team as good as the Blue Jays and you're playing under that kind of pressure in the World Series. So, hats off to them. It's not easy to do twice, and they did it in dramatic fashion this time. And but again, we'll see what they do next year, and we'll see how it pans out. There was nothing low about my payroll and the Mets payroll, and look where we ended up.
All right. Well, there you go. There you have it. He's, I guess, daring the Dodgers to win the World Series again. Anytime, whenever Hal talks about the Dodgers, for some reason, they win the chip. So, they were injured. I said, they got to stay relatively healthy. They injured a lot, like I mentioned, and they won. And they went out there and won. Well, you got to play up to your potential. We know that, Hal, but, again, man, it's hard to really sit here and be angry about this stuff anymore. It's getting tougher and tougher by the day. What do you say about that? The Mets had a big payroll. I'm putting myself in the same boat as the New York Mets now. Putting myself in the same boat as other clubs because we spent $2, and look what happened to us. Mets didn't make the playoffs. We did, and we got kicked out. I mean, I'm just... There doesn't seem to be like a standard anymore of who the Yankees are and what the Yankees are, and there's a difference of us compared to everybody else like they used to be. It just seems like it's dead. Jeff J says Hal is slinging BS. Boo-hoo. I'm poor. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that one too. A little bit more here in the next couple of statements he makes. Tim says, "Fuck this guy. The best sampler size of paying, and winning is his own father. What an a-hole." I told you before, man. I'll say this. I'll say this again and again and again and again and again. I don't know what animosity there is there, but look, I could be completely wrong about this, and I don't want to speak upon somebody's family because I don't feel that's right or that's fair. But it does almost come across as somebody who, it's like there's an animosity towards his father there, and I could be deeply wrong. I don't know. I've heard stories about certain things. You know, you never know. We didn't live it. We didn't live his life. We're not there for it. But you know, I've always agreed with Hal on one thing. You do not have to spend the most money to win. And I've been consistent with saying that. You don't have to go out there and have, and he's right, he's not wrong. You don't got to have a $300 million payroll, a $340 million payroll to win. The difference is when Hal says that and the Yankees say that, that's the difference. You could have that. You could have all of that. Problem is, you've allowed the same GM to constantly spend in bad areas. Guys, there's a reason we talked about this stuff. I think they're spending, God, I don't want to be wrong on this. I forgot the players. DJ LeMahieu, Trent Grisham, and there's like two other guys. I don't know if it's Yarbrough or those guys added into it. There's like two other players. They're spending like, what is it? 50, 60 something million dollars on. It might be in the 70s. It might be something along those lines. It's insane. But that's what the GM of the club has done. That's the guy you're letting spend your money. But the problem is, it goes back to what I said before. Not every team has a generational player like Aaron Judge, one of the greatest players in the world. Guess what team does have that? The Dodgers. The Dodgers are the greatest comp to the Yankees right now. The Dodgers have one of the greatest players of all time currently playing baseball, and it's not debatable. Shohei Ohtani is one of the greatest players of all time. It's not a debate. He is. But the Dodgers are saying, now's the time to spend because we got to win with this guy. And they've won 2 in a row. They've went out there year after year of winning chips and saying, sign more players. Let's bring more great talent to our organization. The Yankees, on the other hand, are going, we have Judge, great. Let's do Band-Aids. Let's try to plug holes with a Band-Aid. It's going to blow open again, but we'll see if this is the time that it holds. Maybe this will be the time that Band-Aid holds and it doesn't fall off. That's the problem with the Yankees. They can't cry wolf. They are in the spot of the Dodgers. And there's even Yankee fans out there that go, Dodgers have they could spend more than anybody. Doesn't mean that it doesn't matter if they can spend more than the Yankees. The fact of the matter is, the Yankees can get who they want. The Yankees can go up to 340. They can go up to 350. They can go up to 360. They don't have to, but they can. And if that's what it takes to put the best team around Judge, you got to make those decisions to do it, unless you're not all in. And it is very different than what we're used to. And that's why Yankee fans will always compare to that, because it's all we've known. Rob, my brother, what's up, fam? We've been beating the shit out of a dead horse, allocations of funds. You went, put and wasted money on IKF, Tulowitzki, Donaldson, Joey Gallo experiment, the Hicks extension, etc. Mind you, also 2 extensions for manager Aaron Boone, the only Yankee manager in history to have 2 extensions without winning a World Series, by the way. Diego says, Hal just doesn't have the cojones George did. Additionally, Cashman is pure testicular torsion to Hal's wallet. That honestly hurt just reading that. That did not feel good to read that, I'll be honest with you. That did not feel good. David says, believe you need to spend on smarter decisions and use your young players when you need to. Also, it's about spending on the right players at the right time. There is no better time than right now. Let's be honest here, folks. Again, I don't think anybody could disagree with this. I don't think there's a Yankee fan out there that is so blind to what is happening. I got to have blind loyalty to the Yankees. I can never say they do something wrong. That can sit there and say if the Yankees don't win it with Aaron Judge is not the greatest failure of all time. It'll be the greatest failure in Yankees period of time history. Forget not making the playoffs and all those years they never had an Aaron Judge. You could say they had Don Mattingly. Nobody is a force like Aaron Judge is. We haven't seen many players in baseball that are the force that Aaron Judge is. Not a guy that you look at and go, oh, he probably hits a lot of homers. Nah, he wins batting titles now. He does everything. And for whatever reason, I'll take a look at something else here too real quickly in front of everybody because this is how I do my business here at the U. Let's take a look at Aaron Judge real quick. Aaron Judge, as everybody knows, is unbelievable, dominating hitter. He's unbelievable. Guess what year Aaron Judge had his most RBIs? When Juan Soto was batting in front of him. Guess who also led the league in runs that year? Juan Soto. Why is that hard to understand? You can guess why. It's not hard to understand. Anybody with a fucking brain can sit there and say, well, yeah, Pete, Juan Soto, bats in the 260s, 270s, typically has almost a 400 on base percentage, and then Aaron Judge drives him in. It's called construction of a lineup. It's called, I understand analytics likes your best hitter hitting 2 and all blah, 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 blah. I understand all that. Put it to the side. It's construction of a lineup. Aaron Judge, the year Aaron Judge hit 62 home runs, he had 111 RBIs, folks. 111 RBIs. The year Aaron Judge played 106 games. At that point, he had 37 homers. He had, 75 RBIs. Last year, Aaron Judge, again, had one of the greatest years he's ever had. He had 331. He led the league in everything. He had a 457 on-base percentage, a 688 slugging, a 1,144 OPS, an OPS plus of 215. Aaron Judge had 114 RBIs. Again, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm not better than anybody. To me, this is basic common sense. But here we are. The Yankees continue to say, we'll put Trent Grisham at leadoff. Okay, great. Let's see how that goes.
And thank you, Helen. The other question is just your thoughts on the job that Aaron Boone is doing. If you had to give him a grade, what would it be?
A plus. A plus.
Please don't make me repeat myself, Bob. I've been asked this question so many times. He's a good manager at many of the things he has to do. He's not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. But he is great at dealing with the players, with his staff, with Cash's people and with Cash, with you guys. And he makes overall good decisions on the field.
Right.
So, you can't pin this on Aaron Boone, that's for sure. This Toronto series was on the players. It's on the players' shoulders, period. They didn't hit. We had a couple bad starts. And obviously against the Blue Jays, as I've already said, you can't do any of that when they're playing as good as they were playing, entering the playoff.
All right, well, yeah, of course, obviously, none of this could ever be blamed on the guy who was supposed to be the general on the field, but we'll keep blaming the players that we change every single year. We change the players every single year. We've changed coaches. The majority of time, we've rarely had coaches stay for many, many years besides Matt Blake. But we continue to do that, and of course, it's never, ever, 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 ever on the managers. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's wrong about the Toronto series. That was on the players. There's no doubt about that. The Yankees shit the bed. Yankees constantly shit the bed. The problem is, I don't think people are just simply talking about the Toronto series when they talk about Boone. They talk about throughout the year. For an example, I'll go back to what I said earlier. We got more people in here now, so maybe you missed it. When you're talking about, players and coaches, they've told me that the mental mistakes must be cut down. It's something we have to change. We got to start changing it right now. It must be different. George, get me a calzone. Sorry, I just love the George Costanza, the Hal Steinbrenner, the George Steinbrenner impression of Seinfeld. But you can't keep saying that. And you can't keep saying it's the players, it's the players, it's the players. It's not only the players at that point. The players have changed. And then he sits there and goes, wait a second, hold on. We got rid of the first base coach. So Dan Fiorito's going to come in and change all of that. So is Dan Fiorito going to hold the Yankee players accountable? Is Dan Fiorito going to say, hey, man, that can't happen. You got to sit. We don't play baseball this way. Or is that going to be the manager's job that said he wish he had more courage? You know, another thing about Boone, and people are going to see this as picking on, it's not picking on Boone. I think Boone has had some of the weakest comments, the weakest quotes of all time from any manager I've ever seen in baseball history. I know since, again, I've been watching baseball for about 30 years now. I have never heard a manager make more weak comments than Aaron Boone. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. I have never heard a manager say, it was bullying by an umpire. I've never heard a manager say an umpire bullied them. 40-something, 50, whatever he is, 40-something-year-old man said, I got bullied by an umpire. Never heard that in my lifetime, ever, ever. Just this offseason, the manager of the Yankees, mind you, listen to me when I say this, the manager of the greatest sports franchise of all time said he wished he had more courage to remove players and this and that. I didn't make this up. That's what he said. That's the manager of the Yankees. Again, I said this constantly. If I ever get the chance to interview Aaron Boone, I'll be very nice. But something along those lines, you can't let that slide. If Aaron Boone sat in front of me and said, I wish I had more courage, I'd say, Aaron, hold on a second. Wait, we got to stop there for a second. Because I owe it to my fan base to have you elaborate a little more. You're the manager of the New York Yankees. What do you mean you wish you had more courage? You've been here since 2018. That's a scary thing to say. I need you to elaborate a little more on that because I can't let that slide. My fan base, my community, the Yankee fans are going to want to hear this. You don't have enough courage. You can't let that pass. You gotta push back on that. That's insane. So you need to expand upon that. What does that mean? But here we are. All right, this is the one that's caused a lot of uproar from everybody. I'm going to play it now, and I'm going to give a little advice to Hal Steinbrenner. Not that he has to listen to me, of course, but I'll give a little advice to him right after this. Here it goes. This is Hal talking about the Yankees payroll and all that, and whatever. I'll answer right after this. Curran says, Boone doesn't run the club, they run him. Facts. No doubt about it. Let's take a listen.
Wanted to ask you, Hal, you said you can't name a figure for your projected payroll, but a range. You were at 319, you said last year. Can you give us a range? Is that the range? I've seen it suggested you want to go down this year. Is that true? And also, I've seen it suggested that your revenues were over 700. So I'm assuming you make a profit. Is that fair as well?
No, it's not fair, actually. So
you take a loss?
Don't want to get into it, but that's not a fair statement or an accurate statement. You need to, everybody wants to talk about revenues. They need to talk about our expenses, including the $100 million expense to the city of New York that we have to pay every February 1st, including the COVID year. So it all starts to add up in a hurry. Nobody spends more money, I don't believe, on player development, scouting, performance science. So these all start to add up, John. And if you want to go look at the revenues, you got to somehow try to figure out the expense side as well. You might be surprised. But that aside, I didn't say every year we do a range, but some years going into the winter meetings, we do talk about a range. But that range has rarely come true, as I found, for all the reasons I already talked about. He's going to bring me anything and everything. And, he and his people have to work harder because that's the way I want it, but that's the way I want it. So we will see what happens and what presents itself trade-wise and free agent-wise.
se murió.
My man was livid, bro. My man was livid that John Heyman had the nerve. He was livid that John Heyman had the nerve to sit there and say, aren't you guys making a profit though? I'm going to look. I know there's probably a lot of people there that's going to sit there and say, oh, Pete's about to flip his shit with this one. Let me just, I'm going to say this real quickly. Hal needs to shut up. And I say that in the nicest way possible. I say this in the nicest way possible. Hal got to be a politician right here. You got to be a politician. I don't want to look, man. I don't want to beat Hal up here. And I don't want to sound like, you know, if you come from a rich family, you never had to work for anything. I'm not one of those dudes. I don't believe that. There's a lot of families that have money that their kids have had to bust their ass to get to certain positions. Not every family just gives, you know, that's a misconception always about, oh, if you came up with money, yeah, you're going to have it, because no, it's not, that's not necessarily true. But I gotta sit here and say this. Nobody, and I mean nobody, cares about your bills. Nobody gives a shit about your expenses. I don't care if you are telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I don't care. Nobody wants to hear that the New York Yankees got bills. There is nobody, I promise you, there is not a Yankee fan alive that sits there and goes, I want to sit down and listen to your bills. You got to avoid answering and saying that, even if it's a thorn in your side, like it's the fucking plague. You cannot sit there and talk about we have bills. I don't want to get into it, but the mighty New York Yankees may not be making what you think. There's a lot of bills I gotta pay. There's a lot of them. There is not a fan in the world that wants to hear Hal Steinbrenner simply say, we have bills that we pay. Brother, be a politician. They avoid questions every single day. Whether it's your favorite politician or your most hated politician, in politics, you gotta avoid certain questions. And here, you gotta be a politician. You can't sit there and talk about, well, you know, not really. You may be you might be surprised. You might be surprised. There may come a time we don't really make as much as you think. Nobody want. There's not a person alive that wants to hear it. There's just not. My guy Frank says, Pete, Hal has to cut the blah, blah, blah and open his wallet and get Scooble, Tatis, Tucker. That's it. If he really wants to win a championship next year for the Yankees, that is it. Doubtful any of that happens. David, my guy, says, I think John Heyman wanted the Yankees to buy more so he can say they're in on Boris players, so it makes him look good for himself. He loves himself. All right, I guess he loves himself. All right, smack the like, hit the subby if you have not, folks. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's keep it going.
Is it likely you won't go down? You'll probably stay the same or go up then?
I think, you know, would it be ideal if I went down? Of course. But does that mean that's going to happen? Of course not. Again, we want to field a team we know can win a championship, or we believe can win a championship. We don't know anything in that regards as far as the future. But yeah.
They don't know anything.
It just hasn't changed, John, which is why, you know, payrolls have gone up probably every year. Doesn't mean they won't go slightly down one year and then up the year after that. I mean, it all depends on what's out there and what the possibilities are and how much I feel, you know, we're able or we need to pull the trigger on those possibilities.
I'll be honest, man. I might have to clip that for next year. Hal Steinbrenner said, we don't know anything. We know nothing. You know nothing, Hal Steinbrenner. No, man. I don't know. I don't know. It's very, very tough. I feel like one of those I gotta clip that. We don't know anything. It just sounds like something that'll bring a little bit of fun to the chats as always. But I mean, what do you say, man? I look, I don't know how much anybody can talk and really inspire, but these guys don't inspire. You know, if these guys don't inspire the fan base at all to feel somewhat confident, nobody will. And look, you know, there was a time there where I was concerned. There was the rumor about 285 or whatever. It's going to be over 300 million. They're going to spend over 300 million. It's almost impossible at this point for them not to, unless they do nothing. But I do believe the Yankees will spend over 300 million. Now, do they give us a team that makes everybody super excited like we were in 2024? I don't know. I mean, look, I said it before. If you go out there and somehow they get Imai, they get Tucker, yeah, I'd be front and center. I'd be front and center of saying this is exciting. You know, this is an exciting possibility here of what they could become, because now you're talking about having that really good core for years to come. You're talking about you're talking about what's it called? A guy like a Tucker and a Judge back to back for years to come. That's what they needed. That's exactly what they needed when it comes to what's his name? A Judge winning for years is somebody that is there with. Remember, everybody says the Batman and the Robin. Yeah, you needed that. That's something you need for years to come. They never really locked anybody in like that with Judge. That was that really 1B to Judge. They haven't had that. A Tucker does that. Again, Bichette, definitely not happening. I think I would be shocked out my mind. That ain't going to happen. We know that's not going to happen. The Yankees, the people making the decisions, they're all in on Anthony Volpe. When he gets back, he'll be back out there, and they'll probably find a platoon partner for Jose Caballero and just run the same bullshit again. And it's obviously stuff that we all know, but guys, I tell you guys this shit all the time, and I'll say it again. I am the first person that's going to sit there and say, I support this, or it's my concern about what they're going to do. 2024, and they got Soto. I literally said that they're going to go to the World Series that year in spring training, because it's a World Series move, and everybody was super hype about that. It's hard to see them making the moves that will bring us back there this offseason. It's very, very hard. As much as everybody likes Cody Bellinger, I'm sorry, for 5, 6, 7 years, he's not it. He's not it. If you're going to spend that money and go to 6 years, just do it for a Tucker. Do it for the better player. Tucker's the better player. Do it for him. Do it for him. And Grog, you're actually wrong about that. I know the reports out there about Soto, blah, blah, blah. I know what the reports are out there. The Yankees could have kept Soto. And everybody's going to, how do you know? I know. Put it that way. I know. The Yankees could have kept him. The Yankees fumbled a lot of issues they could have easily solved and fixed, and they decided not to. But anyway, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole and talking about Soto again when he's a Met for the rest of his life, probably. We don't got to talk about that. But we'll finish up with this one here when they're talking about Japanese players in the market. There's a lot of good Japanese players out there, so we'll talk about it. Here it goes.
Hal, I understand the Yankees will take good players wherever they can find them, right? But do you think it's important to the organization to have Japanese representation on its roster? And is that something you plan on pursuing this offseason?
Well, I'm not going to talk about who's available or not available in offseason. Do I feel it would be good to have Japanese representation? Of course. We have in the past. We were very much in on Yamamoto, as you know. It did not work out. There's some inherent advantages to a Japanese player being on the West Coast versus the Northeast. But wasn't for a lack of trying, I can assure you of that. So, but representation of Japanese players, yes, that's an important thing. And again, that's why we tried so hard to get Yamamoto and others.
Is that at all business motivated? Again, you want great players on the field, but there's certain perks that come with that off the field as well.
I think the Japanese population in this country would love to see a Japanese player play for the New York Yankees. What that translates into, from my perspective, I don't know, nor can I quantify it. But certainly, it's a big baseball, as you know, better than me, is king of Japan, and a lot of Japanese fans here in the U.S. would love to see that. And we've tried, and we will continue to try.
All right, well, we'll talk about that a little bit. First, I want to address this. Source, OK Yankee says, source, trust me, bro. One of these little new age terms of these young kids, I guess it is. If I told you what the source was, you wouldn't believe me anyway. But I think the source is fairly reliable. Super says, Imai says he wants to beat the Dodgers. Sign him. It's funny because let's talk about that, right? So, interesting enough, Imai comes out, and I guess it's a reporter he's talking to or somebody, whatever the hell it might be. I don't know. It's something along those lines. But Imai basically comes out, and Imai sits there and says, I want to beat the Dodgers. I don't care about joining them. I want to beat them. That's what my goal would be. I want to go there and beat them. Then he also says, I really want to have the experience of being a Japanese player on a team with no Japanese players. So I'm kind of figuring everything out. I want that experience. That's what I'm doing. If that is not a knock at the door of the New York Yankees to simply say, hey, brother, have interest in me, will you? Can you please have interest in me? For the Yankees to now maybe disregard this or not, fully go about this or make this work, and it's absolutely insane to me. Like, before any of these comments were made, if you guys remember, I've been saying I think he's one of the top guys you have to go after, if not the top guy, because it opens up the door of trades for your younger pitching. It allows you to go ahead and do that and make some different moves and so on and so forth. I feel like that's something you have to do. And do I think a guy like Imai's contract is maybe going to be higher than anybody expected? Yeah, it's a very real possibility. But again, a guy that has a great splitter. He has a great fastball, 96, 97, could top out at 98. He threw his 117th pitch in his final game of a shutout, 97 miles an hour. I think he had 18 strikeouts that game, 16, 17, something like that. But he's been in big games before. He comes on the Samurai Japan team. These are the type of players you want. Akamoto also. You can't really go wrong with any of these guys. The Yankees are a bit left-handed. If you go out there and get a guy like Tucker, you can very easily say, guess what? We got to get Akamoto to become our third baseman, and we got to trade McMahon because that's going to balance it out a little bit. But we don't know. We don't know what the plan is going to be. I mean, look, man, we're going to... The good news is NYYU will be here. NYYU will be here for you guys. We're going to obviously dedicate a lot of this time to talk about a lot of this, whatever moves the Yankees make, whatever rumors are out there, whatever hot stove is out there. As I said before, Kyle Tucker is a Tucker watch type guy. If you've been a part of the channel for a while, you know what I mean when I say Tucker watch, Soto watch, Yamamoto watch. You guys know all that. He's a player that would be a watch. Murakami would be a watch. Imai would be a watch. Akamoto would be a watch. Tatis would be a mega watch. I mean, that would be, wow. Stay here all day. Don't move, folks. We got you covered. It would be that type of watch. But there's not a shit ton of, me and Kev on DS last night, we talked about this stuff. There's not a ton of free agents out there that blow your mind. I go, oh my God, wow. Holy shit. This is going to be easy. It's an easy thing it's not. If the Yankees miss out on Tucker, I mean, you're not going to go get Bo. We know they don't want Bo. They don't want Bo. We know that. Volpe's their guy. They're not going to give up on that. Brendan Donovan, no. I love Brendan Donovan. I go live for Brendan Donovan, talking about that for multiple hours. I don't think there's been a bigger fan of Brendan Donovan than me. I got videos on Brendan Donovan going back years. Before he was a popular name to the Yankees, I was actually talking about Donovan to the Yanks a couple of years ago. But he fits the team great. He's not a Tatis. He's not on that level of, oh my God, that's insane impact. He's really good and he fits the team very, very well. But to me, he wouldn't be that type of watch along. We got to go live. If news is getting hot, we got to stay live until a deal is done. He's not one of those for me, and that's not a knock on him, but he's not in my estimation. 13 bar is, where is it at? My guy 13 bar just said something I wanted to read out loud, I believe. I thought he did. Maybe I missed it. Tatis will be bigger than Soto. Watch. I shit myself. Brother, there's not many people I would say would be bigger to New York than Juan Soto was when it happened. I'm on record of saying if they got Tatis, they'll go back to the World Series. The difference with Tatis and Soto is you won't have the concern of, oh my God, we got to re-sign this dude still. He's locked in. So now you're just bringing Fernando over and saying Yankee Stadium's your home. You're pairing with Aaron Judge. Bring the energy, bring all the fun, bring all that. Bring the playoff dominance that you've had. This guy's been proven year after year in the postseason. That would be absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. But I don't expect that to happen. I know we're talking about it. That's what you do in the offseason. You talk about fun things that probably will never happen. I know it won't happen. I'm there with you guys. I understand that, but... And I need something good, by the way. You know, we got a studio coming next year. We may have something bigger next year than we ever expected, than we ever could have imagined happening next year. I need the Yankees to do some pretty big damn things. Pretty damn big things to get us excited about next season. I'm just saying. Is it Tatis? Is it Tucker? Is it Imai? Is it another big trade that none of us are even talking about? Maybe. I don't know. I just know the New York Yankees got to go out there and they got to do something pretty significant to make the Yankee fans really, really happy and ready to go. Really happy, ready to go, and just excited in general of what this team could be. But we got to wait and see on that. We got to wait and see on that. So, guys, as always, it has been an absolute pleasure to be here with you all. We are approaching 54,000 subscribers. So, again, tell a friend and family about NYYU. Tell them to like this. Tell them to subscribe to the U. Do all that fun stuff, as always. And yeah, man, any news that breaks, we got you covered. It's almost December already. Winter meetings are right around the corner. You guys know when the winter meetings hit, I stay live. You know, I go live every single day during the winter meetings. It's always a great time. But again, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys. You are the best. Much love to each and every one of you. It is Thanksgiving week. You guys know I'm thankful for this community more so than anything. Extremely thankful for the amazing community that we have built here at the U. We'll be back, guys. I'll be back before Thanksgiving. Definitely. No worries about that. But peace out. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And I'll catch you guys next time. Any news that breaks, you know we got you. Peace out, folks.
We got it next. That's how you finesse. We come for they next. We come to collect. Did it all on my own, yeah. When it brought it back home, yeah. Now they calling my phone, yeah. But I'm all in my zone. They not a threat. Tell them reset. When they're at their best, we still not impressed. Did it all on my own, yeah. When it brought it back home, yeah. Bought a watch with the stones, yeah. Caught them watching my throne, yeah. Ain't no one doing the shit that we doing. Ain't nobody moving.